To meet Ibtihaj, we traveled to New York to attend the final Clinton Global Initiative, where she gave a talk about how sports can change the world. Let me begin by saying congratulations. I mean, any athlete who goes to the Olympics wants to come back with a medal. Very few come back saying, and can say, and you can say this, I made history. You made history. What do those three words mean to you?
I mean, it's like, it leaves you speechless. This is something that I've worked for the last 4 years. I've dedicated my life towards. And to be completely honest, I was just so ecstatic and overwhelmed with happiness and joy to even just represent Team USA, to represent such a strong country on, you know, the world's biggest stage in sport. And to, like you said, be one of the lucky few to come home with a medal. I mean, just indescribable, like, the best experience of my life, something I'll never forget. And to now say that I've made history as a Muslim woman and as a woman of color within the sport of fencing, it excites me because I think of, you know, my younger self in a sense, where those moments where I was told I didn't belong in my sport. I think of the generations that'll come after me, just since, you know, life in general, and overcoming, you know, the fear of, you know, being successful, and challenging other people's misconceptions that they have about who you are, you know, and believing in yourself.
The fear of being successful. Talk to me about that, because people don't think about that.
Yeah, I mean, because you know that in order to be successful, you have to be willing to work hard. And as an athlete, that hard work that you put into your sport and you dedicate your life to, it doesn't always amount to a medal. You know, it doesn't always amount to anything, you know, tangible always. And it doesn't, you know, always amount to a win. So I think that unknown variable definitely, I think, deters people from even pursuing this journey of life as an Olympic athlete. But what I love most about sport is that you can put in the hard work and immediately see the benefit. And one of the great things about being involved in an individual sport specifically is that I can work really hard to develop my own individual craft and see the fruits of that labor.
Born in Maplewood, New Jersey, Ibtihaj graduated from Duke University with degrees in International Relations and African Studies. In addition to an Olympic medal, she's a 5-time medalist for the Senior World Championship in fencing. She's made Time Magazine's list of the 100 most influential people in the world, and she even has a Barbie doll made in her likeness. Her 2018 memoir is called Proud: My Fight for an Unlikely American Dream. Wearing the hijab puts you in a different category than other athletes. I mean, when I think about athletes like yourself, I think of Jesse Owens, you know, I think of Jackie Robinson. That's a rarefied group to be placed in. And the one thing about their stories is it wasn't all rainbows and roses. And it's great that we're recognizing you and talking to you, and you've made this remarkable step forward. But I'm sure there were bumps along the way, and you took some hits along the way. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's an honor to even be used in the same sentence as someone, you know, like Jackie Robinson or Jesse Owens. And of course, it hasn't always been easy. Whenever you are in a space where people just aren't used to seeing minorities involved, whether that be religious minorities, whether that be, you know, ethnic minorities, or even seeing, I think, society has, you know, trouble seeing a woman be strong within sport. That is something that we've seen, you know, not just in the past over the last few decades, but even now, you know, we view our female athletes different than we view our male athletes. So now being in this space where you can, you know, challenge those misconceptions that people have, it is a rare experience, I know, and also a really gratifying one at the same time.
What about sports and breaking down stereotypes? Because, you know, mentioning Jesse and Jackie Robinson, one has to think, if those two gentlemen don't come along, then perhaps you don't end up with a Barack Obama as president of the United States. I mean, they're kind of dominoes. So talk to me about your vision of you making this statement, taking this step. Look into the future. What does it mean for a young girl growing up today and perhaps their dreams?
So, you know, when I think of myself as a kid and not having someone who looked like me, you know, be successful in the world of sport. I remember, you know, hearing these amazing names like Muhammad Ali or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but yes, they were Muslim, but they weren't, you know, women. I look to, you know, Serena and Venus, though I'm like not too far off in age. They were very successful within the sport of tennis from a young age, and I feel like we're just unapologetic about who they were, about, you know, them being girls who were really strong athletes, but also being African American. So to know what they've done for me and just my psyche and how I believed in myself and how I viewed myself as a woman of color involved in sport and having that dream of pursuing elite athletics, I think of myself now, or I'm hopeful that I can provide a similar image for young girls and young boys out there to see themselves in this space of elite athletics. I think that, you know, we have cultural boxes that we create for our kids. We have these different spaces that we tell them, these are where our girl, this is what, you know, these are the limitations we'll put on our girls. These are the sports that our boys can play. And I would like for us to challenge those ideas. And I want to show people that you can do anything that you put your mind to, and don't let other people, you know, create limitations for you.
Fencing has gone through some transformations to appeal to a larger audience. In the 2016 Rio Olympic Games, a wireless scoring system was fully implemented. Historically, fencers had to be connected to a cable during competitions. Since fencing moves fast, it can be difficult for spectators to see the choreography of the sport. But the so-called Fencing Visualize project hopes to change that by using technology to track the sword's movements. It gives viewers a better understanding of what is generally seen as a very complex sport. I have a daughter, she played soccer and volleyball, and I never would have thought, hey, Courtney, try fencing.
Right.
How did you land in fencing? It's not like a sport people wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to take up fencing. How did this happen?
So like Courtney, I played a ton of different sports growing up. You know, we had this all-American household where we were kind of like pushed into sports from a very young age. It was just a part of our lives, and I remember I played tennis, I ran track. But for me as a Muslim youth in each of those sports, my parents always had to change the uniform for me, whether that be adding long sleeves or adding long pants. So at 12, my mom and I literally by chance were driving past our local high school in New Jersey, and we saw fencing. At the time, my mom wasn't familiar with the sport, but she's like, you know, I want you to try it when you get to high school. And that's really how I discovered fencing. I always say that, you know, I didn't find it, but rather fencing found me, because it allowed me to not only pursue my desire to participate in sport, but it also, you know, uniquely adhered to the tenets of my faith as a Muslim youth.
What is it about the sport? I mean, you and I had a chance to visit a little bit beforehand. I mean, I guess when I think about it as like the 2 A's, anticipation, you have to anticipate what the other person's going to do. But you have to be very analytical. You were saying, how do you describe it? It's in a sense, a way of playing chess.
Yeah, I always say that's like physical chess, you know, because like you said, you have to be a step ahead of your opponent. Sometimes you have to be willing to give up 1 point to get 2 points. But what I love most about fencing, I would say, is that it allows me to be competitive and be unapologetically competitive. I'm a competitive person. I like to win. And I love that I can work hard, you know, off the field to be successful on the field. And it has been such a gratifying experience to be a representative of Team USA, and to bring home a medal is, you know, one of the, I mean, I didn't even dream that this could happen, so it's been amazing.
So what's that moment like when you know you've won the bronze? I mean, what are those feelings like?
I mean, I was thinking about just all those days where I didn't want to get out of the bed, where I was just tired, or it was snowing, or it was raining, or, you know, I mean, I've had tons of injuries over the last 4 years, a lot of time on the road. In our sport, we travel to like 12, 15 different countries a year for World Cups or training camps, where we spend a lot of time away from home. So it's those moments that you're thinking about, and you're like, man, that was all worth it. Like this, it all means something, finally, you know, like it just, I mean, means the world to me to bring home a medal.
Ibtihaj has also broken barriers when it comes to fashion. In 2014, she and her siblings launched Luella, a brand focused on modest fashion. In 2019, she helped her sponsor, Nike, launch jerseys for the Women's World Cup football team, specially designed for female players, which also included hijabs. It was a first for players who previously had worn the same jersey as their male counterparts.
Talk to me about clothing, what it means to you, about launching your own company, where your vision is of that.
Mm-hmm. So in 2014, I, along with my siblings, started a modest clothing line called Luella. And essentially, I was tired of ordering my modest clothing from overseas or not having it, you know, readily available when I went to the shopping mall in New Jersey. And it has been an amazing experience running a small business, and also being able to fill that void that we have here in the US market for modest clothing. We have grown so much over the past 2 years. We've gone from, you know, maybe just like 10 items to now over 70 items, and we have this huge customer base, and it's just nice to know that we're able to provide for, you know, women and girls around the world who are looking for modest, affordable, fashionable clothes.
Despite suspicion, racism, and Islamophobia, Muslim athletes are flourishing on the international stage. In the 2016 Olympics, Egyptian weightlifter Sarah Ahmed earned the country's first female Olympic medal and became the first Arab woman to win an Olympic medal in weightlifting. Egyptian Aya Medani is a former modern pentathlete, competing in 5 different Olympic events. In 2004, she made her Olympic debut in Athens as the youngest competitor in this field at the age of 15. And while Muslim competitors are making strides, there are still challenges. American boxer Umayya Zufar was unable to qualify for the 2020 Olympics because the International Boxing Association banned fighters from wearing hijabs for religious reasons. In early 2019, that ban was finally overturned. Now Zufar hopes to compete in the 2024 Olympics.
You were the runner-up to carry the flag in for opening ceremonies behind Michael Phelps. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
I mean, to even be included in that conversation was an honor. And at the same time, I feel like to me, I applaud Team USA for not just acknowledging like an athlete like Michael Phelps, who's very decorated within his sport, but also acknowledging the times that we're living in right now, and what it meant to have a Muslim woman carry the flag for Team USA.
How does it feel to be on a global stage to say, no, look, this is the real picture you need to see?
Well, I've been, you know, combating stereotypes my whole life as a woman, as an African American, as a Muslim, and for me, it's not new. I feel like it's really important for me to use my platform as a public figure, as an athlete, as a representative of Team USA, to challenge that hate and to fight it with not just, you know, this cliche term of love, but also to show people that, you know, like I am a walking contradiction to a lot of the misconceptions that people have even about the Muslim community.
Let me ask you, if a young girl's out there watching, what would you say to them about pursuing their passion, overcoming the obstacles, overcoming stereotypes, any negativity in their life? What are some clear messages you would send to them?
You know, not to be afraid to work hard and to be outside of the box. I feel like I've been told so many times in my life that, you know, I don't belong, or there were things that I couldn't do, or there were limitations that people had that placed on me. And, you know, I've never been afraid to be strong. I've never been afraid of a challenge and working hard. And I realize that not everyone has, you know, those same characteristics, but I am a firm believer in fulfilling your own destiny and willing to work hard for the things that you want. So I would say, you know, perseverance and hard work is the key to any life goal that you have.
Ibtihaj, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, it's so nice meeting you. Thank you.